copyright notices. If you wish to read, pause the video. The original videos are linked in the description down below. Enjoy. Alright then, so in this one what you're going to see is somebody's property be seized because the police believes it might be a Section 5. Nobody has reported it as a Section 5. Nobody has complained about it. The police believe it might be a Section 5, so they've seized it and taken this person's details. To me, this is the first step against our freedoms of speech, our freedom of expression. These is the first steps towards it. It's time we stand and fight, people.
Police are upset with us. Do you mind if we talk to them for a second?
Yeah.
So sorry, well, welcome to the state.
Sorry, I need that book as well. Right, so we've assessed the book.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Okay, our crime department has assessed the book.
Yeah, no problem.
They're satisfied it is a crime. We will therefore seize the literature and obtain your details.
Oh wow.
What's getting seized? It's getting seized.
Okay, so guys, what we need from you, because I'd rather have a positive engagement here.
I want a positive engagement.
Thank you.
Inspector McDonald, you know I want to engage with you.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Can you just record for me? Excuse me, can you? I want to receipt for what you're seizing.
Right.
Can you just count how many books you're taking?
What we do? Do you want to do it? Do you want to do this over here?
We'll do this over here, out the way.
And if you just give me a recording receipt, and if I just have your name and number, would that be alright?
Yes, Sergeant.
But as long as you're
Sergeant,
gonna
sure.
give a receipt for the goods.
I'll try my best.
And then later on,
We won't make a profit out of it, I'm sure.
Okay then, so we've established the seizing the property, so they're going to be seizing the property under the Police and Criminal Evidence Act of 1984, Section 19. Probably. I don't know, he hasn't quoted the section, he should quote the section. As you've seen, they've seized the property. And it says here, general powers of seizure, etc. The powers confirmed by subsection 2, 3 and 4 below by lawful. So basically, a constable may seize anything which is on the premises if he has reasonable grounds to believe that it has been obtained in consequences of committing an offence, and that it is necessary to seize it in order to prevent it from being concealed, lost, damaged, altered, or destroyed. But this bit here is irrelevant. It's this section right here. A constable may seize anything which is on the premises if he has reasonable grounds to believe that the evidence in relation to an offence which he is investigating or other officers, and it is necessary to seize it in order to prevent the evidence from being concealed, lost, altered, or damaged. Section 4 is basically on about electronical devices, so we don't have to go into that, and there's the powers. So basically, is going to be using the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, Section 19, subsection 3, to seize this property, because it said an offence has been committed, which is probably going to say Section 5, public order, because of the Nazi sign in the star. But we'll see if that's what it's going to use to say it's an offence and why he has rights to seize the property. But he should be given a seizure notice to say what's been seized, how much it's been seized, what property is being seized, the quantity of the property which has been seized. He should receive all that, so if it turns out it's not an offence, he can go and collect it at the end.
Yeah, that's fine. You can take that up with our crime department. What we will need from you in order to deal with this properly, your name, the names of the 4 people who are working on the stall today.
Not a problem.
What we are going to do is we'll put on a report that a public order offence has taken place. Our crime team will contact you as to whether or not you need to be interviewed.
Not a problem.
Or or whatever course of action they decide to take.
And can you just tell me, just so I know, what the crime is at this stage?
Yes, it's Section 5 of the Public Order Act.
Section 5
Yeah.
means creating
It's an offence where,
creating a public disturbance.
well, it's not public disturbance, it's where you might be caused offence through...
And so have you had an official complaint from a member of the
no,
public?
but there could be. Yeah.
So you anticipate that there
I don't
might
want
be...
it to get to that situation.
No, it's okay, I don't mind. It's just so I understand.
Yeah.
So
So we
what I
haven't had a
understand-
complaint as such, but I won't allow it to get to that situation.
So there's been no complaint.
gonna seize-
So just so I understand.
Yeah, no
So there's been
complaint.
no complaint.
Yeah.
And
But the
but
literature
there's
could
Section
be-
5 of the Public
Order Act.
Order Act,
Okay.
and the words
It's
of that are
racially aggravated as well because of the symbol.
racially aggravated.
Yeah.
What?
Because of the symbol
No,
and the
that's fine.
meaning of the
That's
symbol,
okay.
it could be construed as
No, I understand.
racially aggravated
racially
towards
aggravated.
Jewish people.
It's not a race, it's a
Okay.
religion.
Okay, I don't know how many times I've gone over Section 5 of the Public Order Act of 1986. We all know Section 5 is using threatening, abusive words or behaviour or disorderly behaviour, or displaying any written signs or other visible representation which is threatening or abusive within the hearing or sight of a person likely to be cause harassment, alarm or distress. Thereby, an offence under this section may be committed in a public or private place, except that no offence is committed where the words or behaviour are used or the writing, signs or other visual representation is displayed by a person inside a dwelling. If you don't know what a dwelling is, it's basically your home. And the other person is also inside of another dwelling. So, what part of this do you think he has committed? Because the sign itself cannot be threatening or abusive. And he clearly didn't use threatening or abusive words. They say in the literature inside of the book they have seized could be offensive to a person. But if they're saying the sign on the front of it is offensive, well then shouldn't they be going to the Holocaust Museum, well the Holocaust Library or whatever, the gallery in London, and seizing all of the Nazi stuff there, because it's the same symbol, apart from he turned his into a star, but it is the same symbol. So if they're going to make that an offence in itself, that means all of your Nazi memorabilia, which sells for thousands, for collectors of that sort of stuff, should all be seized and destroyed. Or is this just their government's way of limiting what people can and can't say just in case somebody gets offended? Because they did admit nobody has put in a report, but it doesn't say they have to be. It says person likely to be caused. And he said is done it to prevent somebody from likely being caused that. This is what's wrong with the world. Too many people are too sensitive, want to complain about the most ridiculous things. It's you kind of people what are so sensitive to words and stuff like that and pictures and that, which is going to create our freedom of speech being rubbed away and evaporated, so we don't have nothing. So we're just a bunch of sheep what have got to do as we are told. Think about it.
All right, well,
But all right, that's
nevertheless,
fine. I'm
it's
not
going
going
to
to
be
argue
seized.
with it,
We'll put on a
but
report.
your reason, but as a representative of the police, I'm not having a debate with
Yeah.
you, but just so I understand, it's a Section 5
Yeah, or the public
order offence
Yeah.
and a racially so I've committed a race crime.
Well, that's
But
an
no
allegation.
one's complained.
But-
But I might have done.
Well, it's not that somebody has
Or
complained
you're worried
now,
that I
but
might
we're
have
worried
done
that
on
the
behalf
situation
of anyone who
might...
might be offended.
Sure. So I'm glad we've got an understanding. So what we'll do is we'll take your details.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. You can have my details. I'm a law-abiding citizen who believes in truth, justice, freedom of speech, the right of the people to know the truth, all that kind of stuff.
So we're not saying a disturbance has happened, we just don't know.
You're just not in favour of that book being sold to members of the public.
It's the symbol on the front of the book, sir, isn't it? That could cause problems at
No.
the current time. And we're just trying to make
Well, I don't accept that, but if you think so, you're worried about the cover of the book rather than the contents of the book.
Yeah, well, the cover could be construed as offensive to certain
To
people
whom?
at the moment with the current climate. That's the only reason.
No problem.
Okay, then, so the cover of the book itself is the issue, as you've heard. In my eyes, that means this symbol right here is the issue. And if that is the case, it shouldn't be on display, or this symbol, or anything to do with this man, because it could cause somebody harassment, alarm, or distress just by seeing this, or this, or this, or this, or any of this. It could cause a big uproar, and this is in the Holocaust Gallery. I'm pretty sure it's in London. So, if that's the case, there's over 2,000 photos and books and artwork showing this thing. So why ain't the police going to this place if it's that symbol which is such a problem with his book that he has got there, just because somebody might be caused harassment, alarm, or distress?
We're
So
gonna take your
someone-
time, we're
you're
gonna take your
worried.
details in a second.
No, that's fine.
And then you'll be
And-
updated.
and
at
you're
a later
worried,
date.
Officer
And
Stevens.
That's basically where we are, and that's where it's,
That
that's where we're ending
I
it.
might offend someone in the future in the current climate. And what is the current climate? The current climate is like there's a genocide happening, and like 14,000 people have been
Wider
murdered.
context here and there.
And I'm here exposing and campaigning against the genocide, which is supported by a government. And you're saying that's Ranjit Brown. So I actually work for the state like you. I'm a surgeon. I work for the NHS. You work for the police. We both work for the government. But what you're saying is, Inspector MacDonald, that I might have committed a racial criminal offence by selling a history of Zionism.
Please let this be a two-way conversation because you're quite dominant here.
I'm so sorry. You know, it's the nature of my personality. I can't help it. But I am trying to collaborate. And I'm just trying to understand.
Try and listen.
Because you just seized about 200 quid's worth of lip from me.
What I don't want
And you're saying that because I've committed a race crime. And to me, as a person of Indian origin. And then you're coming telling me. No, it doesn't. But what you can say is that I'm someone who's known racism and knows what racism is, and I've been an anti-racist campaigner all my life. So to have to have a policeman tell me and say I'm coming and committing a race crime is an unusual experience.
I didn't say you had. I said
And
we're
yet
gonna
you've
investigate
seized
whether
my
or not.
literature on the basis that I have.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to get into the saying he might have committed a race crime, but it's not a race. It's a religion in it, so it's a religious hate crime, which is a totally different ball game. They're not doing it under that. It's a Section 5 where they're saying might cause somebody harassment, alarm, and distress. So Section 3 of this section of the Public Order Act of 1986, obviously Section 5, as we was on, it's the defence of the accused to prove, right? So this is where it's wrong straight away. It's not for us to prove our innocence, it's for them to prove our guilt. So the wording of this is completely wrong. They should be proving that instead of it saying there, it is a defence for the accused to prove, it should say it is for the prosecutors to prove that he had no reason to believe. It should say that he had a reason to believe that there was any persons within hearing or sight who was likely to be caused harassment, alarm, or distress. So the thing here is it shouldn't be for us to prove our innocence, it's for them to prove our guilt. So the wording of this here is completely wrong. Obviously, if it's inside of a dwelling, we already shown inside of a dwelling can't be used as long as the two people are inside of their dwellings, blah, 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 blah. But the wording of this, in my eyes, is wrong. It's not for us to prove our innocence, it's for them to prove our guilt. So this here, we shouldn't have to prove that there was nobody, that there was nobody there to hear it or see it. It should be them to prove that there was somebody there, and in that why somebody should be complaining. If the police can go by somebody might might be harassed, alarmed, or distressed. That could take away all our freedoms of expression and our freedoms of speech, which means we'll just be a load of sheep. This is what it all comes down to. They should have to prove that we are guilty, and they should have a victim before they can go seizing stuff like this. Not just to prevent it.
So the accusation is in.
So
And you're instituting criminal proceedings against me. But it is true. But I'm just like repeating what you're saying. You can do that. I'm going to give them to you live. I want other people to come and visit me as well. This is fun. Hello guys. I've got a detective constable. That's quite a high rank. Hello Philip. Detective means CID basically. Are you CID? But you're CID. Are you CID? No. Fair enough. Oh, that's fine. So is he in charge? Are you a captain? Inspector McDonald. And what's your first name, Mr. McDonald? But you're not Mr. You're Inspector, right? It's alright. This is not hostile at all. I really like you, man. I've genuinely enjoyed speaking to you, and I understand you're following orders. But the order's deeply flawed order, man. But it's very interesting to me because there's a similar thing they did to Jeremy Corbyn, where they accused him of being a racist, and basically they took him out of the leadership of one of the main parties of our government. And this idea of weaponizing, oh, it's the same thing. But this is political. But you're actually political. You're enforcing currently.
This is criminal.
Ah, no, but you're saying it's criminal, but actually this is political policing.
Because it's been assessed.
But to use
criminal criteria.
I know, but what I'm saying is you're enforcing. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I'm not against you. But
So he's saying it's a criminal offence what he's doing, and what he was on about is a political matter. It's an alleged criminal offence. First of all, you've got no victims. Second of all, you're doing it to prevent a breach. Third of all, you're investigating a religious hate crime, which is because of a symbol which we've already established is practically all over London, right where you are at the minute. You're going to go into the Holocaust museum and that sort of stuff and seize all their stuff because it could be a hate crime. No, you're not. So that could be a defense for him if it goes that way. And the fact that, like he said, it's a political move. What they're using the police to attack people what don't agree with their agendas. That's what I'm seeing here.
it's very interesting that you're being used to push forward essentially an agenda of political policing, of political criticism of Israel and its crimes. And I feel sorry for you that you're having to do that. You're a very nice person. I've got no issues. I'm not having a fight. There's no violence. It's very interesting because it's a purely intellectual debate about the character of oppression. And yet that government, because they pay you, they pay me as well. They pay me as well.
An intellect here is superior to mine. I'm not going to.
I'm not trying to say I'm superior to you. I'm not superior to you in any way. But what I am, no. I'm absolutely not coming from an angle of I'm superior or I know better. That's not what I'm saying. But I do know because I know what I'm selling.
Yeah.
And I know what I'm giving out is knowledge, which is truth.
Okay, well,
and I've written to a PhD level in many, many things. And that's okay, but this is truth. And therefore it's very interesting to label the truth as being racism, as a protection from the truth, is an interesting thing. And you're being asked to enforce it, which is not your fault. But it is political policing, and it is, if you like, the death of freedom of speech in our country. And in that respect, it's very interesting. It's not your fault. I don't blame you.
Benji, can I just grab your details, please? Have you got a driving licence or any proof of ID, please?
I don't with me, no. I don't carry
any,
no, but I'll tell you the
proof
truth.
of
It's okay.
ID. What is?
Okay, then. So I like this person, and he's very well spoken, and what he's saying it's true, innit? This agenda of them just following orders is the death of freedom of speech for this country. If we don't start standing up to this sort of policing, we will lose our freedoms of speech. And once we lost our freedoms of speech, it'll be the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. The only thing we've got left is limited freedom of speech in this country, really. We already know they can put us in lockdown, so we're not allowed our freedoms of movement, because what happens if you have your freedoms of movement? We already seen that 2 years ago. You end up fined, prosecuted, possibly end up in prison just for having your freedoms of movement of going out. So we've already seen they can take that freedom away from us. The only freedom we've actually got is our limited freedom of speech, because that is censored up to the max. You say something which somebody is offended by, that's it, your freedom's gone. Just like that. As we see in the Section 5 public order offence, that needs to be wiped away completely. It's rubbing away our freedoms. Now, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this interaction. As always, like the video, it does help in YouTube's algorithm, and I'll catch you on the next one.